Hello, everyone. Oh, wow, look at this. RPG Kingdom Kid here, back with some more What Remains of Edith Finch. In the last video, we kind of learned a bit more about the family in a way, and we learned about Edith, how she's, during this trip, she's 22 weeks pregnant. So, yeah, it's crazy. So I'm guessing the person that we saw first on the boat was actually her child. My guess is her child is on their way here to the house then. Airplane ticket. Okay, Finch. Clear skies and clean living await you. Study fun facts about Baltimore while you fly. But yeah, the last story that we learned was Sam, which is her grandfather. She went on he went on a hunting trip with his daughter, our mother, and it seems like that he died when the deer was twitching and knocked him down. Only 33 years old. Yeah. I don't know, there's some, like, she's talking about how, like, the family's, like, maybe the reason why, maybe it's nothing at all, but since we believe it and everything, there's actually a curse type thing. It's one of those things, so very interesting. So,
after Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot.
yeah. Yeah, they sure did. Finch control. Oh, here's Gregory. Yep. That's what we're going to start learning about now is Gregory, Gus, and Dawn. Divorce contract. Oh, wait, no. Pick that back up. K, Charlie, Sam. Proprietor, wife, respondent, husband. A lawsuit has been filed against you. You have 20 calendar days after this summons is served on you to file a written response to the attached compliant petition with the clerk of this court located at that street Friday. A phone call will not protect you. Your written response, including the case number given above and the names of the patient parties, must be filed if you want the court to hear your side of the case. If you do not file a response on time, you may lose the case, and your wages, money, and property may be taken thereafter without further warning from the court. There are other legal requirements. You may want to call an attorney right away. If you do not know an attorney, you may call an attorney referral service or a legal aid office listed in the phone book. If you choose to file a written response yourself at the same time you file your written response to the court, you must also mail or take a copy of your written response to the party serving this summons at that street. Copies of all court documents in this case, including orders, are available at the clerk of the circuit court's office. You may review these documents upon request. You must keep the clerk of the circuit court's office notified of your current address. You may file a notice of current address. Future papers in this lawsuit will be mailed to the address on record at the clerk's office. Warning: rule that family law rules of procedure requires certain atomic disclosure of documents and information. Failure to comply can result in sanctions, including dismissal or striking of pleas.
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it. I think he saw things the rest of us don't.
Gregory, it's time to... Hold on, sweetie. Hello? Sam, I told you I don't want to talk right now.
I wonder what he saw. What his world was like.
So they had issues.
He reminded me so much of Calvin. Lost in his imagination. Whatever it was he saw. It sure made him happy.
Na 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 na. Ba-da-da-da.
I know how silly it sounds. That I worried about a baby being too happy. But I could feel him slipping away.
Sorry about that, Gregory.
I know you did everything you could. Maybe if I hadn't called that night.
Damn it. Hold on, I don't want Gregory to hear this.
I mean, I'd get Gregory out of the tub.
I wish he could have told us about the world he saw.
Oh, God.
There's so much I don't understand.
Ooh.
About Gregory. About everything. But I know what happened wasn't your fault.
It's just how quick, so get... Okay, if Gregory was the firstborn. Did they file for divorce before the other two were born then? And then, so I guess he must have had the kids with someone else.
I'm sure he's happy. And he'd want me to be happy too. Good luck, Kay. Love, Sam.
I don't know if you heard that, but there was a rivet on the thing. There's a flag rivet. That's rough.
I can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and yet...
A poem for Gus.
A poem for Gus.
who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard. My father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart.
Also, like the second Wayne. So it's weird. So, oh no, I'm an idiot. Gregory was not the firstborn. Gregory was the lastborn. So yeah, Don and Gus. So they were all the same. Okay, they were all the same parents or mother. How long did Gus live? Gus lived to not even be 10. Oh no, he lived to be 10. 13. He lived to be 13.
I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her. We don't need a stepmom, were the words that I
now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined, and as a sign held up his middle finger.
Fuck you, Dad.
The wind picked up, and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent. Rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made. The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power, but all my father said to this was, "Make the music louder." I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea, and foam. But I didn't, until we found you.
Are we just learning, like, we're just learning about how everyone died?
She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
Well, okay, you are the youngest, so I was about to say, why would they name you Gus if the other... Well, Lewis was born before Gus died. So... Hold on, wait a second. No. Lewis was born after Gus died. I can't read numbers correctly here. Yeah. There's just some... I don't know, man. This is so interesting. House rules. No playing outside without permission. No answering door to strangers. No messes after dark. All chores before dark. Respect others. Gus, Don, Gregory. Hers is flipped up. With sympathy. Deepest sympathies. Don, Gregory, Gus. What was Gus again? He was 13. So Don was like 12 when he died. Don was only 20 when she first had Lewis. Raise flag, 7:30 a.m. Breakfast, 8 a.m. Quiet time, 11 p.m. Duties, Dawn, sweep, trash. Gus, mop, mow yard. Greg, be a baby. Routine, jump rope 100 times. Jumping jacks 150 times. Push-ups 100 times. Crunches 100 times. Run to the mailbox and back. God damn. I'm never really a big fan of, like, military families who install the military actions in their kids. It's like, I understand why they do it, but at the same time, it's like, let them be kids for a little bit. Like, yeah, I mean, it's fine for them to, like, learn a routine. Like, it's totally understandable about that. I totally get that. But, like, do they really need to do that? At, like, what? How old? So, if Gregory was still alive, so that's, like, 76. So, Gus was, like, 7. Don was like 8. Oh, Don's older than Gus. I can't do math. So it's like, let them be kids for a little bit.
My mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died. At the time, it was as far away as she could get.
Holy Bible.
Religion was another thing my mom never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot after her dad died.
Don, Sanjay. College applications. Fly to India, pack. 10 ways to teach critical thinking.
She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay.
Or helping hands creating safe place. Huh. Thought for sure, like, I'd read that book, but no. Orca High School. Don't forget. Now where to? I'm just going back up again, which I don't think is anything up there, but double check, just be on the safe side.
My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Lewis was born a year later.
Jesus, all the missing posters.
When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back.
Don, Lewis, Milton,
And to see
Edith.
kids in the house again.
Thyme, mint, sage, basil. That's actually pretty cool, like, to grow your own, like, thyme and sage and basil and all that stuff. That's really interesting. Like, I watch, like, a lot of, like, YouTube, TikTok, chefs and all that stuff, and some of them, like, hey, just grow your own stuff like this. And it's like, oh,
The
that's
house had to
interesting.
get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that.
Who built it to be bigger?
And for a while, things were good. Almost normal.
Lewis rules. Edith, Barbara, Gus, Sven, Odin, Gregory, Calvin, Sam, Molly. Edith, Lewis,
But it
Milton,
didn't last.
Miss Finch. Scientific method. Observation, question, research, hypothesize, experiment, data, conclusion. Awesome. Odin Finch, the curse, myth, history. Kingdom, violent, class, order, something, Genesis, species, variety. Can't remember what that is.
The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle. After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
Oh, so we're going to learn about our brothers before we learn about our mother? I don't think I missed a book about the mother, did I? Like, I looked through all that, so... Extra, extra, historic American newspaper now available. The magic
Milton
paintbrush.
Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
I could never get... Sometimes I get these things to work, but other times they wouldn't.
I was 4 when Milton disappeared. Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors. Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
feel like we should have... Or maybe how we're doing this is we're... Oh, that doesn't make sense because we learned about Sam way after Walter, but I guess because... Oh, no, that doesn't make sense. My initial thought process was, oh, we're learning about how they passed away. Like, we're kind of like going in the order of how they passed away when that's not the case. Because we learned about Molly first, then we learned about Odin, and then was it Calvin? I think we learned about Calvin, then Barbara, then Walter. Although I guess we're kind of learning about, I don't know. I hope I didn't miss the mother. I don't think so, because there was no sign. There wasn't anything there. I just want to double check just to be sure. So they'll even let me go back in there. Probably not. Okay, they will. There's nothing here. We have that. No book. Just want to make sure that I did not miss Dawn's. I feel like I probably haven't because, like, there's some connection in a way. Like, even though, I mean, Dawn's probably going to end up being the next one that we look at, all things considered, but can I actually look out through the people? No. Yeah, like I said, Dawn's probably going to be the next one that we learn about. But it's still like, oh, how, I don't know, like, there has to be some kind of like a, like she said, there's something like with the stories connecting, some kind of a connecting factor, obviously, but I don't know. I'm trying to learn like the order of like, because it can't be the order of how they died because technically Sam died before Walter, but I guess maybe because we learned of his circumstances first, that's why we learn about his death. And that's same with Milton. Like that's not even like, yeah. I don't know. All right, let's go up.
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Lewis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room until Mom got him a job at the cannery. Everyone always told me to stay out of Lewis's room.
Closer look.
Except Lewis.
Look in all peepholes and telescopes long enough to hear Edith's commentary. That's my first trophy, by the way. Oh, good old
Lewis's room
hookah.
smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
Smoking that good kush.
Lewis and I spent a lot of time playing games together, but he was surprisingly bad at them. He died a lot.
The Red King's dream. Locker contents.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery, but he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to wander. I asked him to describe it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats and toads. And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more. I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Lewis.
Sometimes
So
people
I let
know
him
how
go
to like focus on work, and they can do both, multitask. Like I've been doing like this. Granted, not so
I
great,
even
but still.
encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend. On the edge of a city he named Lewis-topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him. That all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination. So he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him. He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis.
Minneapolis.
Until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Lewis kept sailing on. In Lewisburg, he heard rumors of a handsome queen. The queen was on her own quest for
Sinister serpents.
Sinister serpents. He followed the sound of her
Silver harp.
silver harp. His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound. He knew the world was all in his imagination. But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king. For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
That's what happens when you keep smoking that good kush, brother.
He began to
Alrighty.
forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker. He began to despise the man with a royal contempt. I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions. Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on inviting me.
Calico Molly.
His queen waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do.
Yeah, he's gonna.
Bend down his head.
He put his head in the chopping block.
And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
Jesus.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
Well, do I end the part off here or do I keep going? Well, you know what? I'll keep going, but if the part gets longer, then I'll cut it there. And we don't have that many more to learn. We just have Dawn and Edie.
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left.
Edith, Mom.
My mom ended up leaving everything behind.
To teach and to learn. 7 ways to create a fulfilling classroom. Dawn Finch.
What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner. But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
Edith.
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart.
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
Oh boy.
The power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
Why did she seal off all those rooms? Like, first of all, like...
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning, okay?
History of the Finches by Edith Finch.
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know,
God,
I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around. I started seeing things. Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine!
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go! I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great-Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it, but she started getting sick a lot. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it.
I'm born now.
I just want to meet you. And tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
Okay. Wow, okay. Story by Giant Sparrow for Shirley Dallas, 1948 to 2003. Well, I'll be honest, I didn't think it would be this short, if I'm being honest. Wow. Very interesting. This was a very interesting... Everything ends. Finish all stories. I guess I finished all the stories. I guess Dawn didn't have one. Dawn didn't have a drawing on hers. Neither did Grandma Edith. Damn. This was a very interesting experience, if I'm being honest. The funny thing is that we literally only got 2 trophies that popped up. I'm just, wow. This was something else. Very well done too, by the way. Thanks, John. Well, yeah. I'll be honest, I haven't looked at I haven't looked at the trophy list. this isn't... I don't even know, like, where to begin with this, if I'm being honest. It was good. Don't get me wrong. Interesting as well, like, you know, a whole family curse and all that, and I'm still laughing at the Halloween music that played for the Barbara Finch thing. This was interesting. That house is crazy, don't get me wrong, but it's like, I don't know, it is interesting, so yeah, the Molly one was like, Molly started off, I'm like, what the fuck? And I was like, I'm still like trying to figure out how, or like, I don't know, like, I feel like it was just a lot of unfortunate events that happened to this family. Like they said, it could be a curse, maybe not, just like a whole situational thing or something. I honestly don't know. Yes, this didn't last that long. Man, that was nice. Trick or treat smell my feet. Sony Santa Monica, Chad Cox, Loving Mary Lewis Finch, the Edith Finch team, Edith, Eddie, Don, Lewis. The end. Oh, there's Dawn and Edith. The replay a story option is now available. Select Edith to play from the beginning. Or are they like tied together? Was play a story. I think Dawn and Edith were just
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word.
I think, yeah, I'm just playing the whole
Until
thing.
supper, when she
I mean,
raised
we'll play
her
through it.
glass
Let's
and
play
said,
through it since it wasn't that
To
long.
our final night together, and all our final nights apart.
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
The power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning, okay?
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around. I started seeing things.
So, yeah, as I'm playing through this again, let me kind of like... I feel like this was a very interesting way to tell a story, and story on top of stories as well.
But when I saw
you know, it's just a very interesting way to, you know, tell the story of a whole family here.
Old friends. That night,
and
a lot of things came back to me.
You know, kind
or
of like...
maybe I came back to them.
I feel like it was an interesting way to tell a story about family, an interesting way to do it and such, and
things I can't explain, but that I
thinking
need
about
you
it.
to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
How did you even get
It's
in here,
fine.
by the way?
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go!
I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great-Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it.
You know, it's a very interesting way to tell a story, and I guess like how family, you know, has a lot of, I don't want to say secrets, but like, you know, family history, I guess, is more of a
My mom didn't like to talk about it.
appropriate way to say it, but
she started getting sick a lot. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things.
Yeah,
as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes.
Like, I honestly,
And appreciate
again, I
how
didn't expect it to be
strange
this
and brief
short,
all
too.
of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you and tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
Oh, she was born on February 14th. But no, this was it was a good story. Interesting, like I said, an interesting way to tell the story, an interesting way to because you learned, I feel like you learned as much as you could. I mean, granted, I feel like there could be more, be like, you know, hey, so if she died so she was born in 1999. She died in 2017. So, of how, we don't know. Oh gosh, she only died 7 years after her. Well, when did her mom die? Her mom didn't die in 2010. I know great grandma Edith and Lewis died in 2010. Dawn died in 2016. Wow. So, and Edith died a year after. So, oh, she was only 18 when she died. But how old was she? Oh, God. Then she must have... Yeah, the kid never really learned about her. She probably died maybe during childbirth or something like that. That could be the case. This is such... It's an interesting concept. It reminds me of kind of like Endeline. Age of... you know, the Fox game that I played a while ago. It somewhat reminds me of that in a way. With, kind of like the storytelling in a way. Except obviously there was no spoken words in that game. It was more so via action and such. I think that were it was a narration, I think. I honestly can't remember. It's been a while, but this one was told somewhat similar in a way. Obviously, the gameplay is different between the two, but still really interesting. So it was a very good experience, I'd say. I'm actually curious how many more trophies there are left to get, and how could you not get them? There's probably one where you go through the game not reading all the stories, because there's probably a few you could go through without reading stories. You didn't have to do the Milton one, you didn't have to do the Lucas one, you'd have to do this one for sure. But there's definitely a couple of them oh yeah, you could just go through it without having to do their stories. I am curious if you could have done the basement. Again, the key to the basement, if I had just done that kept doing that right away, or I think it stopped me from doing it. So then you'd have to read at least Barbara's. I don't think you had to read. You didn't have to read about Gregory. You didn't have to read about Gus. I don't think you had to read about you didn't have to read about the you didn't have to read about your grandfather, Sam. Calvin didn't have to read about him either. Yeah, you didn't really have to read about... I'm really thinking about if you had to read about any of them. You could have just gone through this like that. And I wonder if that would have been like so much different. I do like this too, like how they move the magnets that say the end there. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. I guess that's it. Yeah, I guess that's it. What happens if I hit play? Oh, I think it just starts me here again. Yeah, it's just taking me to the main, like, letting me start over again. So, yeah. Yeah, I guess that's it. This might, you know, out of curiosity, let's look at the trophy list. Let's look at the trophy list here. Take both paths to the house. Catch 2 rabbits with only 2 swoops. Let the drunken sailor finish his song. Clear all balls off the pool table. Knock all the letters of Gregory's name into the bathtub. I thought I did that. Play Calvin's story again. Take a picture of the rabbit outside Edith Finch's National Park. Okay. So there's nothing about like, oh, go through it all like that, so. This was an interesting game. And all they're all just gold trophies, which is weird. It's so weird. And it's weird that there's a platinum, in my opinion, but it was interesting. You know, I mean, we might as well just replay Calvin's story since it's right there. Now that I finally know, like, how to do it properly.
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin. And that he never talked about him. I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it. My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom. And he did. At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again. And he wasn't. I think Calvin always wanted to fly. But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it. I told him going around was impossible. Maybe if I hadn't said that.
Calvin, I'm not gonna tell you again.
Maybe if the wind hadn't picked up. Then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind. That's what I want to remember about my brother.
Take my hand and lead my way to fly. Take my hand and learn how to fly, fly, fly.
And he did.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
All right. Yeah, I guess that's all that's left for me to do is just get like
After
the last,
funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room.
like get like the last trophies in here, which a couple of them are by replaying Molly's segment. But yeah, that's it, guys. That's going to do it for Let's Play What Remains of Edith Finch. Very interesting game and such. So, okay, this all took place 22 months, or when she was 22 weeks pregnant, but happened after her mother died. God, so who knows, man? That's crazy. It's a very interesting game, interesting concept, and I'll be honest, I liked it. It was good. But anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching this series, watching this video. Guys, if you liked the video, please give that like button a click and comment down below what you liked about the video, didn't like about the video, and let me know, guys, what you think about this whole game and the way that they told the story. I found it very interesting and quite the tale, if I'm being completely honest here. But yeah, let me know. And as always, guys, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a beat. And subscribe to my main channel too, that's in the description below. As well as follow me on Twitter. Both my main Twitter, the RBG Kimika Twitter, are in there too. So what is next, guys? I don't know. I do have an idea for one game, so I think I'll know what it'll be. So be very interesting. Again, I honestly didn't think it would be this short, if I'm being completely honest. I mean, if I really want to, I could cut them all into be one vid. Each person had one video, and then, you know, all the videos would only be like 5 minutes long. Nah, but it was good. I like this. You can easily get this platinum in like 2 more hours or less, depends on how you do it. So, yeah. Let me know how you guys felt about this game. And as always, guys, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a beat, and subscribe to my main channel too. Wait, what I'm saying? Subscribe to my main channel too. That's in the description below, as well as follow me on Twitter. Both my main Twitter, the RBG Kim Kid Twitter, are in there too. And like I said, there will be a new series coming up after this. I'm somewhat interested in it, so but yeah, I hope you guys will enjoy it. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching once again, and I'll see you all next time.